No, the final debt figure's gonna be reduced. That hasn't hit yet, right? So
No,
it's
Steve, what he's saying, we've budgeted to cover exempt debt in our FY 2009 budget to cover that ban, correct?
Correct.
And now we don't need that money.
But we,
Well, we needed it for this year, okay,
but we never financed it.
yeah.
So therefore, it never hit. So therefore, you're not gonna feel the impact. What you won't feel is the impact is if we didn't get the $5 million. So
Won't be an increase.
it wouldn't be, there won't be an increase.
But there also, going forward, won't be the interest payment on the ban.
Right.
But we had to pay this ban anyway through this year, through September, right, is when it ran out?
Right.
Yeah, okay. All right. So we'll have a breakdown of that for our next meeting?
What has to be done with recreation salaries?
First time wasn't correct. We had to take we had to come to the benefits.
Remember the issue that,
Do that. We're gonna take it out of the revolving fund, and take the salary out of the revolving fund.
Wasn't that a bone of contention at the time, though? That's how we did it?
It was.
You're gonna move the salary out of the revolving fund, you're gonna go to full-time employee.
If it's full-time. And this full-time? Weren't we going to split so that we wouldn't fall into that trap and that we would be able to cover the benefits in the regular operating budget, so that would not impact the revolving fund?
Well, we're still gonna take the salary from the revolving fund.
But you have more than one employee there.
I think this is just the one employee. That one position.
that sort of implies that out of the recreation revolving fund,
Another $10,000.
there's additional money that has to come out, which was not our intent. So can we take then that anticipated amount and put it into budget line items for recreation instead? No. If the salary has to be in the revolving fund, including the benefits, can we take the amount of money that would cover benefits
Yeah, out of the
and
pension
supplement their operating budget to that amount of money?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
Yes.
That's what I'd like to see done then.
Put it into their
What I'd like to do is reduce the pension and benefits line item and move that 10 or 12 or whatever the dollar amount is into the revolving fund so that they won't, in actuality, come up short.
Well, it wouldn't be in the revolving fund so much, it would be in some expense line item.
Wherever it needs to go. Well, it appears as though what you just said is if you're gonna pay for it out of the revolving fund, it has to come out of the revolving fund, excuse me, if you, so you're going to have to place, if it's use the figure $10,000, move it from line item, whatever it is, pension and benefits, from that line item to the revolving fund, $10,000.
Which is doing the same thing, you just circumventing the process.
No, you're misunderstanding. What we're saying is supplement the recreation operating expenses, not the salary, by the amount that they're gonna have to take out of the revolving fund to cover the benefits for the employee that's being funded out of the...
But you're still taking the benefits out of the revolving.
That's fine. That's
Well,
fine.
we can do that or can't? We must.
That's fine.
Yeah, right. That's what we would do.
Oh, okay, so, but if we increase their expense budget by $10,000, because part of the expenses that they incur come out of the revolving fund.
All right, so they can take other expenses.
So that way they won't have to cut, we can cover $10,000 of their expenses.
Yeah.
All right? So again, the intent is not to saddle the recreation department with the additional cost of benefits. That works.
That's fine.
So at our next meeting, can we have a breakdown of how this is gonna be funded?
Absolutely.
Dave has his hand up.
Yes, Dave?
There was one other item that, Susan read, I guess Dr. Bill read, up in this, article. We had, when I say we, the board, and, finance department had talked about, one of the big, turnbacks was the solid waste account. Number one, because the tonnage was down because of the recycling, the initiatives made by the recycling committee and the response by the public has been great. The tonnage is down, but we had also gone to town meeting, assuming the worst situation because our tonnage was high at the time. Last year, we went into the budget. As a cushion, I believe it was $125,000 or $150,000 we put aside from the stabilization account, the solid waste stabilization account. Now, the wordage was up to that amount. So we could draw at it, at leisure, once we went over our estimated. Well, Department of Revenue came back after town meeting and said, no, that can't do it, and that was appropriate for the whole amount. So that whole 150 went into the account. And also get discussed when the year was over, tally up, the excess, from the solid waste aside from, the tonnage, obviously we'll come back and catch up that 125, 150. We, the strategy was to redeposit that in the solid waste stabilization account to keep the fee stable. I would just, if we're going to look at some other numbers tonight, I would just ask that we reconsider as per plan. Ultimately, that's your decision.
Which budget are you talking about, FY 2008 or 2009?
2008.
So what you're saying is that we used money in the debt stabilization for 2009, we didn't spend all of it, that may be part of the turn back, and it became free cash, now it's in the general budget and not in,
So if it stays there and ultimately for general use, then that a portion of it would not be redeposited, and that means then our plan for keeping the rate flat is more delicate. Now, I will say that the tonnage continues to drop. So that's a good sign. But, enough to offset that, I have no idea. But we're going in the right direction.
well, what I would recommend that we have, for our next meeting, what that number is, so we can take a look at what we can do or
Yeah, it may
decide on what to
not-
do.
May not be in a position to redeposit all of it. I think we should look at it.
Is that 500, that's part, I assume that's part of the 500,000?
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
Okay, so that's part of the 500,000, is that factored into our free cash amount?
Should be.
Yes,
Yeah,
Yeah.
so,
Yeah,
I mean,
so-
so we had 268,000, or whatever it was, $269,000 available, of which 125 probably came from the,
Yeah.
solid waste stabilization fund,
Right.
per se. So that makes, and if we want to stay with that game plan of stabilizing the rates on the solid waste, that reduces the amount of available funds. You have $130,000 allocated under the current proposal for April town meeting, of which 60,000 is already committed to the school department.
yeah, we have to pay that lease.
Right, 60,000 is already committed, so that leaves you, what, $70,000 to return there and nothing left,
Well,
correct? Sound right?
sounds right.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't
I
sound
would
good
like-
either.
As you had requested, and I have requested, I'd like to see of all the turnbacks, a complete list of
Right.
each line item, budget line item, where the turnback was, and how much it was.
But that,
And then we'll have to make a decision.
That significantly impacts, at least my thought process on things. is obviously, stabilizing the rates on solid waste is something that we all talked about at length.
You need rubber dollars.
Yeah, rubber. But no. So, would we be looking to address that in October?
Well, what I'm gonna suggest is this, that A, is that we don't, make a recommendation this evening on Article 5, that we will make that recommendation at our meeting on the 29th. Is that right? We have the right date? At which point, we will have detailed breakdown of this, and we'll have a breakdown of where the $500,000 or whatever the amount was, came from, and we'll have to take another look at the, what we can do to put as much back, if the board desires to do that, into the solid waste stabilization fund. Thanks for calling that to our attention. I was unaware of that. Is everyone okay with passing over this until the 29th? It's only so that
Or
we know
town
what...
meeting floor.
What?
Or town meeting floor.
No, there's not, I think we'll have the numbers by then. Greg is committed to it.
Just for the version of the warrant that goes out, we'll have to have recommendation at town meeting
Yes.
because it won't make it in.
Sure. But that doesn't preclude us from taking a vote on the 29th. Prior year's bill requires a 4/5 vote of town meeting, and it was what, 173? Any questions about that? What is the bill for?
It's one of our medical bills for disabled public safety employees. We are obligated to pay.
It wasn't covered by normal insurance.
No.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion for Article 6 for recommendation.
Mr. Chairman, I move to recommend Article 6.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Harris, seconded by Mr. Vino. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Yes, recommended. Article 7.
Chairman,
Yes.
if you could allow me just to bring up a couple of revisions. You provided a copy of the proposal to the board. Refer to the purple copy that was in your folder this evening.
This evening's folder.
Hopefully it's the only purple copy that's around.
Now there's a
No?
purple
Awesome.
copy.
Since the last meeting, the board, I'm just gonna go through them from the items that have changed. The board had asked about deferral of item number 6, which is the septic system for the DPW. In conversations with Mr. Hamlin earlier, we agreed that it would be best to defer this request, which would allow us to proceed with an in-house design between the Board of Health agent and the town engineer. Also looking into the issues that the board pointed out at the last meeting, that it being located in an area that does not preclude expansion of the facility. So this item can be deferred. No monies are requested at this time. Item number 7 was an estimate that was calculated upon higher priced vehicles taking advantage of the hybrid market. We've since gone back and revisited that issue, and for the needs that we have, we would be looking for more traditional SUV type of vehicles. The cost would drop from $55,000 to $48,000.
You mean
Which
number 8?
Number 8.
Sure, number 8.
Hey, Greg, I'm sorry, again, what's the cost adjustment?
Cost adjustment would be from $55,000 to $48,000, and that would be for 2 vehicles. And those are the only changes that I would have. That would take the cost for items number 4 through number 13 to $635,000.
And
There were a couple of points, I'm sorry, that were made at the last meeting relative to items number 27 and 28, which are the library activity room floor and exterior paint and sills, about availability of trust fund monies. We realize that is something that we do need to pursue. Those approvals would not require a vote of town meeting, though, and so although we're not recommending funding of these capital proposals at this town meeting, we do need to proceed with the recommendation of the board and pursue funding through the available trust funds for that purpose.
so you've got 670